Hey everybody, it's TotalGamerJunkie and I welcome you all back to my channel. Since there is just 3 days left until the last issue of Life is Strange Dust comes out, I thought I'd do a theory video that I've been doing a little research on because I want to make sure I get a bunch of stuff right. Anyways, in this video I'm going to be talking about how many timelines and maxes there are. Now, it's actually, the answer is actually easy to say but a little hard to explain. But we'll get that to it in a moment. Now, what I should clear up is that Max isn't jumping between timelines. She is actually creating them along with a bunch of other Maxes. And I'm going to show you my proof. Now, in this image here, you see that Warren tells Max that she's like Sam Beckett and that she's jumping between realities and that. But even if that's true, I don't believe these are just random realities. I believe she's jumping between realities that she has created. For example, what Warren says about... You see, Max mentions to Warren the diner explosion. How is he still alive? And in case any of you don't remember, in episode 5, when you had to get back to Warren to get the photo that he took of Max... when he was a little drunk and that. This was before Max and Chloe entered Blackwell's Hall when they were looking for Nathan Prescott. Anyways, as you can see, Max mentions that the diner exploded. Now, you actually had to stop this. It's when the diner explodes, you had to grab a shovel full of sand and then put it all over the gas leak or the gasoline trail, whatever it was, and just put it down there so the fire couldn't get into it. So the fire couldn't destroy the diner. You then go in, you talk to Warren, you get the photo, use it to go back a day before, you warn Chloe, and then in the present day, Max and Chloe are standing outside looking above the tornado. So what this means is that since Max and Chloe were together, that means that Max didn't save Warren in that. So Warren, Joyce, Frank, Pompidou, like if they were still alive, you know, that means that they all died in the diner explosion. Yeah, there's even more evidence to support that theory by, if you look at this, it says that, Warren mentions that Chloe died before the storm, so she was shot by Jefferson in this reality. And that reality is this one, as you're seeing in the clip, when you're playing episode 5 and you have to get to Warren. See, as you can see, Max stops the fire. And then when you go see Warren, you can give him a hug, a kiss, or leave him. I assume in this reality that Max would have kissed him. But I guess it's also pretty sad here because if Max is creating other timelines, it's like what's happening to these past Maxes? Well, I actually have a theory about that, which I'm going to discuss right now. Okay, so towards the end of the game, when you're in the nightmare sequence, Max will come across another Max. You can call her other Max, evil Max. I don't think she's evil. I guess you could call her bitch Max. Now she says to Max, she is her or one of the many Maxes that she's left behind, which is sort of proof that whenever Max rewinds time, she's not only creating another timeline, but everything that her consciousness is, she's putting her consciousness in a new body of Max that she's created, while she leaves the other ones behind, while she leaves the other timeline and Max behind. So, if you look at the diner for example, like with Warren in the comic, Max goes back in time and she saves. And so it's like, oh yeah, this is totally, this is a good thing that's happening because you got to go back and save Chloe, and everyone thinks like that's good, but it really isn't. Because if Max is going back between other realities, personally is creating new realities, my mistake. I believe that the Maxes that she leaves behind cannot rewind at all. Now, there is, I guess you could say, that the Max that's with Warren, she, has been switching places with Max for a bit and like flickers, or whatever you want to call it. But basically, what happens is when Max goes, when she rewinds, she goes back to Chloe, she created another reality where that Max who tries to rewind back using the photograph can't rewind back. That's why Chloe is still dead. That's why Chloe died before the storm. She was shot in the head by Jefferson. Because every time Max rewinds, she's leaving a Max behind, and that Max can't rewind. Like, let's take a look at like the very beginning, like the first time Max rewinds. Okay, so here we have the very first, like, when we discover Max's rewind ability. Now, I'm not counting the vision and the storm, because I'm not counting the opening when there was a storm, because I believe that was just a vision. Anyway, when Nathan shoots Chloe, Max reaches out with her hand raised, and that's how she rewinds time. But this is when she creates the first Max, okay, like alternate reality. So even though she goes back, there is still a Max stuck in that bathroom who can't rewind time. A Max who has to watch her best friend Chloe die, and she doesn't even know it's Chloe yet. So that's basically what like, if you choose to let Chloe, if you choose to sacrifice Chloe to save Arcadia Bay, then she has to go back to that moment, back to the first Max. Now, does this reset all the Maxes? Does this delete all those alternate timelines if Max is there? I personally don't believe so. But what I do believe is that every time that you rewind, you're creating a new timeline. Now, how many timelines are there exactly? Now, the answer is actually determinate on your choices. Because how many times do you rewind in the game is how many timelines and Maxes you're creating. Like, by the time I went back and looked at my old walkthrough videos, which you can find in the playlist on my YouTube channel, if you look at by the end of it, if you watch my playthroughs, by the end of episode 3, I had rewinded a total of 60 times. So that's 60 Maxes and timelines I had created. Timelines where, timelines where Chloe got shot. When she shot the bumper of the car, Max rewinded that, but another Max wouldn't be able to rewind, she'd be stuck. Times where Max tried to rewind when Kate jumped off a building to kill herself, but she couldn't. This is just a bunch of realities. Times where Max tried to hide in the closet from David. In Chloe's room, if you remember correctly, she when the stuff fell in the closet, you had to rewind, then hop in. That Max wouldn't be able to rewind there. Even in episode 2 at the diner, imagine how shocked Max would be if she tries to rewind time, right? She goes, Chloe, I can tell you everything that's in your pockets, okay? You guess it wrong, she pulls out everything in her pockets, then you have to rewind time. And then you solve the puzzle. But if you rewind time, you're leaving another Max behind. So when she tries to rewind, she'll discover she doesn't have her ability anymore. So yeah, every time you rewind, you're creating another Max, and you're creating another Max in a timeline, and the Maxes you create cannot rewind. That is my theory, which is also kind of sad. Think of how many times Max you'd have to rewind when you're in a dark room with Jefferson. I mean, how scared do you think she'd be if she tried to rewind when he goes to inject her with the medicine and the needle, whatever it's called, and she discovers she can't rewind time anymore? I mean, like, how many Maxes has she personally killed? Like, not intentionally she didn't kill, but every time she rewinds, she's dooming those people to a fate. Another example is with Frank Bowers. You choose to spill his beans and then you rewind. Then you're stuck with a Max who can't rewind after spilling his beans, or his drink, or taking his RV keys. She can't rewind to make him not know anything. Yeah, so that's just my thoughts in the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to come back to my channel on the 27th. Yeah, at the 27th of February. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. That's in 3 days. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.